in this lesson, we're going to continue using functions, and we're really going to talk about local and global variables. I know in ActionScript last year or in Intro to Programming, we used universal or global variables quite often. So that way they could be shared among different functions. Same principle here. We're going to create those and take a look. So in the previous lesson, in part 2 of functions, we talked a little bit about our local variable. And that was in the program called change arguments. I'm just going to go and use that again. I'm going to type that in. So you're going to need the usual suspects here, include and our driving function. Okay, so in change argument, we did a number of things. We first used a function called change argument. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a new function here. And it had some arguments. And basically, again, arguments are not necessarily variables. They're more like a holding space for input. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean user input, but just input into that function. So that is, and x is my argument, and it defines the scope of the function. So in here, we are going to have it add 5, so x, to whatever it brings in from another function. It's going to return that. All right, so we have that, and now let's get the results. So we had int results equals change argument 4. And this is just a modified version of that program here. And then let's go ahead and see that out. So we can kind of see what we're dealing with. Always good practice to kind of do that. Even if that's not what you want to print out, it's kind of nice just to have that check to make sure all is working. I oftentimes, when I code, I have checks with what my computer is bringing in and what I'm checking in my program. So that way I make sure I have little like validations along the way, especially if you're doing a long code here. Okay, so we have our int main or our driving function. That's our primary function that our program reads. It then goes, hey, change argument is now going to be 4, meaning that input is going to go 4, and it's going to drop it down to that function called change argument. 4 is going to be placed in for that argument of x. So it's now going to be 4 plus 5 is 9. It's going to return the value of 9 and bring it back up to the int main. And it's going to place it in results. Results is now going to print out. It should be 9. One other thing, we have to declare the scope of our change argument function. So int so that way it can be recognized. Right, so let's run that. And in fact, it all works. Good. All right, so let's talk about local variables. When we do a local variable, or if we've done a local variable before, in change argument, you might have something where you have a local variable that's just local to int main. So in change argument, we looked at the local variable int y equals 4. So I'm going to go back up here. Y equals 4. And instead of, I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to do change argument of y. And CO of y. So let's run this one, where int y equals 4. That is my local variable. It's a local variable. And you will see why. All right, so you notice that the change argument, or y value, is 4. And you would think, well, why doesn't it put 4 in for change argument here, then bring it back down to this value and put it in for 4 plus 5 equals 9, and then C out 9. The reason is y is solely just for int main. It doesn't go outside of that function. Because we declared it inside this function and not outside, it can only be used inside int main. And that's the reason why. If we put this in for change argument, it really doesn't recognize it outside of int main function. So that would be a local variable. It's solely inside just one function and can't be recognized anywhere else. And so it won't be recognized in change argument function. But let's talk about doing a global variable. Now, global variables, we tend to use them more often just in case we might want to use it somewhere else in another function, depending on how we break up our information. So let's talk about doing that. Let's get rid of our local variable here. And I'm going to go back to having my change argument do something. So I'm going to have int results again equals change argument. And I might say it's 4 or something like that for now. And again, I'm going to go back here to results just to print it alt. And let's run this again. It should give me 4. And 4 plus 5 is 9. So again, this value isn't a variable. It's more like an input value that you're going to be putting inside change argument function. And so it has to be in there, inside the parentheses for it to be recognized. So let's talk about a global variable here. So let's have, let's go ahead and declare a new function. So I'm going to declare a new function here. It's my add. And my add's going to use a variable called b equals b plus x. I'm going to return the value of b here. There you go. So this is a new function that I just created. It doesn't take in arguments because I'm not going to add I'm not going to set a value to it in int main. I'm actually going to create a universal or global variable for b. So it's going to be used in main and in my add. So int b, and we're going to just set it to 0 at first. Okay, so next, let's see if it even shows up. So right now we have the results This is change arguments here, so I'm gonna see here. Okay. And then let's also see out B for now. Maybe we can see it. Here, let's run that. Let's double check. Let's see. Oh, too many curly brackets here. There we go. So run that again. All right, so this tells me that my change argument is 9. Again, it puts 4 in for the argument for change arguments. It then goes 4 plus 5, returns 9, and then it sees out the results in int main. And then this also does the value of just B right straightforward here. And you'll notice that B doesn't become anything because I don't call upon the function yet at my add. Here, I'm just taking int B, plopping it into main, and doing the value. Now, if I want to see what the value is, B value after my add, we can do that. So here, instead of the value B, I want the results of my add. So let's run that. And there, again, I forgot to declare my add function. Just like how we do the function here for change argument, let's go ahead and do that. So it's my add. So many things to remember. There we go. Run. Bring this up, and here we go. So change argument, the result is 9. B value after my add, it is 6. And let's double check. B goes inside of my add here. So B becomes 0 plus 6. It returns the value of 6, and C outs it right there. Now, if we wanted to also see out the value of B after my add, see out B value. If we wanted to just do, so here it automatically calls upon the function my add. But if you want to just say, hey, I really want to see it's universal or it's a global variable, you could then do my add here. And then, just the variable B. And we'll run through that. So, should give us the same. There we go. What this does is, let's run through it. First, it takes the change argument number and the value of 4, puts it into the function change argument. So then it drops down to change argument. 4 plus 5 is 9, returns the value of 9, goes back up to int main, and assigns it to the variable results. Then my code says, hey, I'm going to see out the results, which is 9. Then it's going to go to my add function. So it drops back down to my add function. At the top of this program, we declared that B is equal to 0. So it goes to my add. It now says B plus 6. is 0 plus 6 is 6, returns the value of b, brings it back up to int main, and then C outs the value of b after my add, and it calls upon b there to see out that value. Now, what if we want to do multiple my adds? See if that changes. Okay, so b value after my add multiple times. Or 2 times. So if we called upon my add another time, it would add 6 twice. Or sorry, yes, add 6 twice. So you'll notice here, this says, hey, my change argument is 9. Again, so nothing's changed here. Then it goes to my function my add. This one makes b equals b plus 6, which returns b equals 6 here. Okay. Then it goes back to my add function. And now b equals 6. So it goes b equals 6 plus 6, which returns b equals 12. You notice b can be used multiple times. If we want change argument to change here, let's say now we want, okay, I'm going to change this. Oops, let's go that. And then let's do another one, results. Maybe we're going to see out, oops, change results. So results is now going to equal change argument 4 plus my add. And now we're going to see out overall results. On that. Actually, looks like I made a coding error here. So our first value of change argument is 9. So it takes 4, puts it back into 9. Or sorry, takes 4, puts it in for 5, or puts it in for x here. For the value of x plus, or it becomes 4 plus 5 equals 9. Returns that. So this returns the value of 9. Now this goes to add my add, it becomes 6. We do my add again, it becomes 12. And this then makes it b equals 12. But you'll notice here I made another change argument. So that would give me so let's double check here. Let's double check. Our overall results are 27. Let's double check here. I'm going to check my work here. So I'm going to do change. If I had change argument 4 again. See out. Oh, I get it. Okay. Let's undo here. I see what I did. There we go. So this, again, says the results are going to be, change argument is going to be 4, which gives me 9, plus another my add. So it's going to take 12, add 6 to it, which gives me 18. And then change argument becomes 9. 9 plus 18 gives me 27 as an overall result. So this becomes results equals 9 plus 12 plus 6 again, which gives me 9 plus 18. And so my overall results, is 27. Whew, that was confusing me. Okay, so that's our universal or global variable. Sorry, I used them interchangeably. Let's also talk about doing another one here. So I'm going to take this, copy that. Let's talk about doing another global variable. So I'm going to get rid of this. Start over. And let's talk about, let's see here, one more. Let's go ahead and do our int main. And let's go ahead and create another function called fun. And this isn't going to return a value. It's going to return a count. So we're going to just do a void fun. And let's do count of function calls plus plus. So we're going to keep adding for how many times we call. Okay, so there's that function, and we're going to call upon fun here, and then we're going to see out function fun was called and we're going to call upon that count function calls this many times. Okay. All right, so we have that. Let's double check our work here. Okay, so we have a function. We need to declare it. So let's go ahead and declare our function. And we're also in fun, we're also using count of function calls. And we're using them in both, right? We're using them in fun function, and then we're calling upon it in main. So that is a global variable, and we're going to need to declare it. And then that is going to be an int, because it's going to be a number, int. Count of function calls, and we're going to set it to 0, because we have to first set it that for 0. All right, so let's run this thing, see if I have any errors here. Function fun was called 1 times. Is that true? Yes, because I called upon it 1 time in here. If we want to call upon it again, and again, and again, we'll run that. And it was called 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another example of a global variable. And that's going to be it for today, and using our variables and our functions. And you guys are going to have some small assignments. So go ahead and take a look at the assignment and Repellent programs. If you have any questions, let me know.